Hey guys, it's Chameleon Keeping Dude, and in this video, I want to explain which is actually the best way to feed your chameleon. Here we go. So, there are 3 different ways you can feed your chameleon. Right now, I have Ziggy, my pampered chameleon, just chilling on my hand. So yeah, there's 3 different ways you can feed your chameleon. I think I've already explained this on my TikTok page, if you want to go check that video out. But in this video, I'm really going to explain which one is actually the best. So first, let's start off with hand feeding. Hand feeding can do a lot of things for your chameleon. It can help your chameleon learn to trust you. It can tell them that you have food. That tells them a way that you're not dangerous, you're safe, you're not going to hurt them. Now Ziggy, when I bought him at a reptile show, he naturally just came to me. So he was just naturally friendly, which is pretty rare in most chameleons. And he's still very nice. He only comes out if he wants to. But most of the time he does want to come out because I've kind of tamed him to be like this, to trust me. And I kind of helped him with that by hand feeding him, which will definitely help, like I said, with trust. And just letting him know that I'm not going to hurt him. So, hand feeding is a perfect way to feed your chameleon. It's actually most recommended. I've hand fed all of my chameleons, including my veiled, obviously my panther, and my Jacksons back here. They've all done great with it, no issues at all. Now my veiled, he does not like me as much, but hand feeding actually worked out for him, and I was very surprised that he actually took food from my hand. But after that, he just gets mad at me, so it's typical failed attitude. So hand feeding is probably the best way. Is at least a really good way to feed your chameleon. However, you can feed them lots of things from your hand, and you can even use one of their treats, like hornworms, which we shouldn't feed as often. Same thing with superworms and mealworms. I've never really liked superworms or mealworms for one main reason: they're just a big fatty piece of food. And if I accidentally overfeed them one day on accident, I don't want to go through the issues, which could be like gout or liver failure. And sadly, my panther already has gout. I do not know what caused it. I didn't do anything wrong. I even rechecked all my husbandry, and I didn't do anything wrong. So he kind of has his setup a little bit limited. I know it doesn't really look limited, but it's limited in a way. So sadly, he has gout. And gout's, just to refresh, gout's a condition where uric acid crystals form in joints like the ankles, wrists, and knees. And I might do a video soon on how gout happens in chameleons and how we treat it, because gout is a very serious condition. And there goes Ziggy. That'll be one of my most awesomest chameleons I ever kept in captivity. He's my second chameleon. I got him after my first one died, sadly. That was my female veiled chameleon. That was years back though. It's at least like 2 years ago. Actually no, 1 year ago. So anyway, hand feeding, great way. So now let's go on to cup feeding or bucket feeding. Here we go. So cup feeding is another great way. It's also another recommended way to feed your chameleon. I use it for my both Jacksons and veiled chameleon because they're kind of iffy, because I don't really hand feed them as much as I do with Mr. Ziggy here. What are you doing, buddy? He always wants to go sit on my shoulder, but he might want to go back in because he sees his cage. But cup feeding I use for my veiled and Jackson's chameleon, again, back here. I don't use cup feeding on Ziggy here because he actually has a birth defect in his tongue, which affects how he shoots out his tongue and how he gets his insects. I think his mother received a little bit too little of vitamin A, and Ziggy was one of the victims of the vitamin A deficiency, and it's perfectly normal. Sometimes chameleons will be born with birth defects. Some are too severe that chameleons have to be sadly put down. But so Ziggy has a tongue deformity, and he's been fine with it. I've helped him along the way by hand feeding. Definitely a better way of feeding. I think it's actually almost better than cup feeding. They're both great ways, but I would recommend hand feeding out of cup feeding. But both, as I said, are great ways to feed your chameleon. So cup feeding, you can just place on a vine. I made my makeshift buckets, so I could just get like some hooks, and I like screw them in to the side so they can hang on the branch or vine or whatever. Just put the insects in there. I will say sometimes chameleons may poop in them. My veiled chameleon has done that, and I've had to clean out the whole bucket a few times, so it's not like it's not going to happen, so it's definitely possible. My Jackson's chameleon hasn't yet. He's kind of confused by it. He doesn't really know what it is, but he's starting to warm up to it because he knows his food inside. But again, I just really just hand feed Ziggy. Sometimes tongue feed, but not really tongue feed. Kind of do a little bit of both, but again, I do not cup feed Ziggy because I feel like he would just have a hard time trying to get those insects if he was cup fed. So, cup feeding and hand feeding are great ways to feed your chameleon. Now let's go on to the last option, which is tongue feeding. Here we go. So our last way of feeding our chameleons is tongue feeding. And the reason why I put this one at last is because it's not the best way of feeding your chameleon, because a big issue can happen and most owners accidentally do it, and it can hurt their tongue. So sometimes when owners are feeding their chameleons by tongue, sometimes when owners are feeding their chameleons by tongue, the chameleon will accidentally latch its tongue onto one of the tongues, and the owner will pull back really hard, and that will hurt the chameleon's tongue very badly. It can cause some trauma in the tongue, and it will not work properly. And their tongues have to be at least one of the most important parts of their body, because it's the whole way how they eat. So most owners will accidentally do that, and they don't realize what damage they cause to their tongue, because once you hit their tongue, it's very bad. So we gotta just make sure that we don't accidentally pull back on her chameleon's tongue if we do tongue feed. It's just a very high risk of it, so you just gotta be careful. Same thing can happen with hand feeding. Sometimes they'll accidentally latch onto your fingers, and sometimes people will pull their hand back. Basically the same thing happens. But sometimes that happens with my chameleons, but I don't pull back. I just let them take my finger, the tongs, into their mouth and just bite until they eventually let go. And of course, if they bite me, especially Ziggy's accidentally bit me. It's not on purpose. I like my veiled chameleon. I mean, I see him up in this cage over there. So it's not like a purposely done bite. It's just on accident. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you. It's just again, it was just an accident. More than likely. If the chameleon trusts you, more than likely it's just the accident. I don't really know. Let's see him sitting up there. I think he's right here. I don't know if you guys see him moving. So tongue feeding, not really the best way to feed your chameleon. It's just raises the risk of their tongues getting stuck, or their tongues getting latched onto one of the tongue parts, and you accidentally pull back and it causes tongue issues. Definitely don't want that to happen. So tongue is not really recommended, but it doesn't mean you can't feed with tongs. You just have to be really careful of what could happen if you do it incorrectly. So, real question, so now for the final question. Which way of feeding is actually better? Personally, I think it's hand feeding. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.